workbench looks a bit empty. In the last video I got the neck blank roughed out to this point. We've tapered it and got in the headstock. I'm waiting for the truss rod, and whilst I'm waiting I'm going to make a start on the body. Now the construction of the body for this is completely different to anything I've ever done, and completely different to the majority of guitars out there. It's kind of a combination between a kind of laminate top type arch top build and a lot of other things. I was kind of inspired slightly by a few things that kind of were mentioned in a chat with some of the Great Guitar Build-Off contestants. I think, as I mentioned in the previous video, Chris Franklin was talking about bending veneers and kind of a bit like the kind of bent plywood chairs and things that you get. You get some interesting shapes, and we were trying to figure out how we could incorporate that into a guitar. And also the bits of Ben Crow's Great Guitar Build-Off build that I liked, not the bits that I didn't. But we're not going to discuss that. That could start fights. We don't want that. So I'm going to use some of these maple veneers. They are somewhere between 1.5 and 2 millimeters thick. They're meant for skateboards, and I got distracted there. And I got them in kind of custom sizes cut to make something else a while back. I did that and I got lots of extra spare, so I've got some left over. What I'm going to do with these is glue them up, laminate them and bend them into a curved drop top and back, but I'm also going to use them for the sides, and then I'm going to cut away the body shape, which will leave me the edges and the horns as structural, and everything else will be one giant hole without me having to drill any holes. I'm trying to use the drill a bit less. What I think I need to do with this is make a mould. So I'm going to put these to one side. And grab a trusty piece of MDF, because why waste good wood? And what I need to do with this is mark out what I need to create a body blank. I've measured the thickness that I need for the body itself, as the laminated parts are going to be inset into the neck blank, so it all sits flush. And that leaves me with 28.5 millimeters, I think it was. I will double check. But being 18 millimeters thick, this is going to give me more than enough depth to mould around, and we'll see what we get. I need to do some measuring. And now we wait, because even when you're not sat cutting and sanding templates to the perfect shape, they still take forever to make. I'm going to go and have a brew. I'll be back when it's dry. So I've trimmed this down to the size that I need. I think technically it's a buck is the term for it, because I'll be forming the body around it. What I need to do is make sure that thickness wise I'm exactly where I want to be. So I need this to be the thickness of the fully glued up ply body, thinner than this blank here, because I'm going to inlay the top into the back, or the body, sorry, into the back and the top. Which means I need to do some measuring, because we have 39mm here and 36mm there, which means that if my body was 1.5mm, because I need to half the total difference, that would be fine. But it's not. It's going to be 3 pieces of this veneer here, which comes to 5.5mm. I will be adding another piece of veneer in between this, which will get me roughly 6mm. I've got a bit of sanding thickness in here that I can take away. So I need to take another 3mm off the thickness of this. So I've got a couple of options for how to thin this down. I could do my shaping and use a plane or sandpaper to just thin it to the right thickness, or I could actually put this in my router sled and do it like I would any other body blank. So I might do it that way. I think I will probably do it that way. That'll just be easier, because my maths was wrong. If it's 6mm either side, I need to take away 12mm total, or have this 12mm thinner than that, which means I need to take off quite a bit. Oh well, let's get going. Well, that's rounded off and nicely shaped and sanded. I now need to have a think about how I'm going to bend my veneers around this. It may involve soaking them, heating them, but I'm going to find a test piece and just give it a bit of a try, see what works, and hope for the best. It's quite a tight bend. I've done a little test piece here just to see how well I can bend it. The glue has been drying for a few hours. It's not completely cured, but it's enough for a test. I've noticed there is a bit of springback, but I did expect that. It doesn't take too much force to close it again, so I should be able to glue that to the neck block in the middle and that hold everything where I want it. That looks quite cool. I like that. So I'm thinking that I should probably make a start getting this book ready for bending the first piece of the veneer. I'm going to try and do them one layer at a time to get them as close as possible, and then obviously whilst I'm gluing them up I'm going to try and clamp everything as much as I can and get it all to hold. Attached this veneer to the book, and I've attached the book with some clamps because I drilled some more holes in my workbench because I'm not going to get to drill as many holes as I like in this guitar. So I've attached it to the side of my workbench so I can work on it at a comfortable angle. Basically what I need to do now is get it wet, get it hot, and start bending it and hope it doesn't split. That's the first layer, mostly bent. There's a little bit of fine tweaking to do, but I'm going to be able to do that as I move through the layers, because each next layer is going to kind of have a slightly shallower radius and be able to tighten up the layer underneath. What I should have done whilst I was doing this is probably glue up the next one, but I didn't, so I'm going to do that now whilst this dries, because I've used a lot of water. A lot of water. I have just realised that I only need to join on one side. You didn't see this bit. Right. So, it's the next day. This has dried out quite a bit. I'm discovering a few issues. I was in here till gone 11 o'clock last night. So I spent over 10 hours trying to make this work yesterday. Some bits of it work quite well. Other bits are a bloody nightmare. The difficulty with the veneers is that to get them to bend, you've got to get them really wet, which means that there's a lot of swelling happens and warping, which on its own, with enough clamps and straps and things, I think I could probably minimise that with the glue up. But at the moment I don't think I can actually exert enough force with the clamps and the equipment that I've got to keep this flat and give me the finish that I actually need from it. So I'm going to put this to one side. I have had a think about it, and as much as I really want to make this idea work, and this idea was the inspiration for the build, I don't think it's the way that I'm going to carry on going at the moment. So in answer to the question of will it work, probably at some point in the future. I'm going to keep at this, but I think it's going to be a as and when I think of new ways to do things, rather than continuing to do it now with the equipment that I've currently got, because I won't be happy with the end result. Luckily, there was always a plan B. Plan B keeps the overall look and feel of the guitar, but it doesn't use the maple plies. So it's a little bit of a departure, but not too much. Or at least I don't think it's too much. So I think we should write this one off for now. And we'll get started on plan B.